You stop that. You stop that right now.
Okay.
Okay.
I will.
Awesome.
I love the look of like sheer confusion that you had there.
Yeah. Well, it's
Just
because
like, I don't know what's happening.
right before this podcast,
Yeah.
I basically lost a contact. So I can see half your face,
Oh,
and then I just see a blur.
that's me.
A man of mystery.
I am the Blur.
The blur.
Welcome
The red
to my
blur.
new movie, The Blur, where I fight Spider-Man all at once,
All one of them.
at the
'cause there's
same
only
time. Just
one.
one Spider-Man or woman. We don't know. Did I send you that? Did I send you
Yeah,
that?
that's from Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield. Was that an actual line from The Amazing Spider-Man 2?
It sounds like it could be. I don't think it is though.
The way that he said it
It sounds like
sounds like such a meme.
yeah. There is a line in there where he's like, no, yeah, it's in there when he's skipping the rocks
Yeah.
when he's talking to the terrible Harry Osborn.
Yes.
Yeah,
You mean
Dane
everyone's favorite Harry Osborn?
DeHaan, little Goblin Jr. Yep.
Dane.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, hey everybody. It's me, Marshall, and I'm here with Cinema Lounge, the official podcast of the Great Scub Do, the YouTube channel we never touched that I'm actually going to start streaming on regularly very soon.
Don't touch it.
Oh, never mind. Then,
Okay,
I guess,
you can
guys.
touch it.
Oh, hey. So guess what? I'm going to start streaming on there very soon. I'll tell you about that later, probably. And we're here with Connor Brand.
What's up?
He's
I'm
here.
here.
He's a handsome gentleman,
No.
and he's on the table, at the table,
Well, yeah. If I were on the table, things would be different.
like a
cat.
a cat here to just scratch up the place.
Yep. I'm here to scratch up the place.
Yep.
Moving on.
Yeah. So we're here to talk about the Spider-Man movie. It's the Spider-Man Time happened, and we both saw it. I saw it twice in one night. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, you did tell me that.
Yeah.
How was that?
I liked it better the second time, actually. We're skipping ahead right now, but I had mixed feelings the first viewing, and then the second time I liked it a lot more.
Yeah.
And I have been thinking even more about it over the last 2 days, and I like it even more.
I think I'm going to enjoy it the second time around as well.
Yeah.
Because the first time I was just pondering so many things and
Yeah.
like, this doesn't
There's so much to
feel-
take in.
It doesn't feel real to me. This is a fever dream
Yeah.
of everything I wanted since I was 7 years old in 2002.
Right? There's so many wild moments. I saw it with Adriana, and I turned to her. We looked at each other. I mean, we both had the same reaction so many times of like, what is happening? Like, what is this movie? This
Yeah.
is crazy.
The mere fact that this movie exists
It's wild.
is, I just can't comprehend it fully.
Yeah.
So with
that's
that,
the preview
Yeah.
of this landmark thing.
it's the culmination of all my movie going experience.
Yeah. All of it?
Yeah, the first movie I saw in theater was Spider-Man 2002.
Really?
So I can never see another movie because this closed
You
the
have
chapter.
to stop. You have to stop.
Bye-bye movies.
Unless they
Hello,
make Spider-Man
books.
4.
I'll probably see it.
It could happen.
Or are they going to keep... we'll
We'll
leave
get there.
that for
Yeah,
later.
I
Yep.
know, right? We'll
Yep,
get
yep,
there.
yep.
So this is the thing, everybody. This is the new movie, and we're gonna do a little bit of non-spoiler here, and then we'll get into full spoilers. So if you haven't seen it yet, feel free to keep listening, and then when we get to that point, we'll clearly mark it because we're not all the millions of people on TikTok who are just putting the entire movie on there.
Yeah, I gave up social media.
Dude, it's crazy right now. It's insane. Every other video on my For You page is just all of the big scenes from the movie.
I'm on a stuff you can use in youth ministry page on Facebook.
Yeah.
And they're spoiling it.
What?
Yeah. And it's this weird... Anyway. Don't spoil it.
Don't.
Don't spoil Endgame. Don't spoil
Don't do
No
it.
Way Home.
Yeah. It's so strange. But yeah, we're here to talk about it. We'll do non-spoilers for a little bit, and then we'll talk about spoils. So Connor, do you want to give us the broad strokes of what this movie is about?
The broad strokes, yes. So following the last Spider-Man movie, which is Far From Home.
Yep. So far from home.
So Far From Home. Peter Parker, a.k.a. Tom Holland, a.k.a. Night Monkey, comes back from Europe.
Yeah.
And he's swinging around with MJ. And they stop, and J. Jonah Jameson, in his appearance in the MCU the first time,
Yeah.
shows up
J.K.
and
Simmons.
basically reveals to the world that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So this movie is dealing with the real fallout of what would happen in that sense.
Yeah.
And you pick up the movie exactly where that movie ends.
Immediately. It's just crazy.
Yes. And so it's a lot about balancing, well, how does a teenager applying to college who is trying to balance the life as Spider-Man, but also Peter Parker,
Yeah.
deal with this? And how do his friends and family also deal with this?
Yeah.
Because they're cited as accomplices. They were there, and yet the world is split on how they deal.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
Yes, and I will say that the first half, it really hit on that emotional beat of, yes, this is realistically what would happen. And then they discard something and go a little, okay, this happens because it's a comic book.
Yeah.
And then the second half just blows my mind.
Yeah, that's a pretty fair way to describe it. Like, I feel like the whole I would describe this movie in thirds, with the middle third being a smaller one.
Yeah.
Where the first third is really good. The middle is a little rough.
Yeah.
And then the third act is stellar.
Oh.
Fantastic. The way that we
Stellan
get
Skarsgård.
to that third act, I feel like is a little bit of slightly lazy writing, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
But also, but also the writing is so good in the movie too at points.
Right? That whole opening sequence of so we know, we've told you, like, the identity gets revealed, and then the whole like inciting incident is basically that he goes to Doctor Strange because all these bad things are happening to everyone around him. Because everyone knows who he is now. He goes to Doctor Strange and is like, "Can you do something to get rid of my secret identity, or to bring it back?" That is.
And that's the part that I kind of have issues with, which we can get into
Really?
with spoilers.
Yeah.
Yes. But we'll save that for later.
Yeah.
Please
So
continue.
that's basically the inciting incident, is that as Doctor Strange is trying to do this spell that'll make everyone forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, Peter keeps inserting different people that he would prefer would still know that he is Spider-Man, and it messes up the spell, and it cracks open the multiverse for just long enough for the villains from previous movies to get in. So then it becomes about basically Peter having to figure out how to stop these guys.
Yes.
And that's the inciting incident. That's where we go from there.
Yes. Can I say something specific about the spell exactly?
Yeah.
So the spell itself is supposed to be everyone's going to forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And Peter's like, wait, everyone, I want you to remember. I want my girlfriend. I want my best friend. I want my aunt happy.
Yeah.
I want them to remember that I'm Spider-Man. So I just want everyone else in the world to forget.
Yeah.
And the spell backfires because, he's a kid and he's putting things in there and he gets a
janking
little
with
stressed.
magic.
Yeah. And so the actual spell that happens is that everyone in the multiverse who knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, even in their universe, is pulled to the MCU universe.
Yeah.
The cinematic universe.
Yeah.
So that is very important to a lot of questions that I have for you later, and we'll come back to that.
Yes, there's a couple things that are a little weird around that. But for the most part, it works as the basic premise. And really, it's just like, a means to an end, essentially. And the
Absolutely.
end that it is a means to is far worth the minor issues that I have with that part of it specifically. But let's see, what can we talk about before getting into spoilers? I think visually, this is the best looking of this trilogy by far.
Yeah.
The cinematography is fantastic. It feels really grown up.
It does. They take their time for emotional moments.
Yeah.
And the MCU has this thing where they will always like cut the tension with a joke.
Yeah.
And in this, they let it sit
Yeah.
because they know how much is invested in this movie, how much we feel for this movie and this character.
Yeah. I can't think of any specific moments where they have that kind of like Star-Lord cracks a thing after a serious moment, as much as like I feel like it was a little tonally confused at times, where there was like Far From Home had this problem in a certain way where like the first half of it was basically a completely different movie tonally than the second half
Exactly.
of it. And the second half is better, in my opinion. Like the first half of that movie, as well as a lot of the beginning of this one, is a lot of that lighter, more fun tone. And there's a lot of goofing with Ned and MJ that some of which I could do without. Like it was a little much at times.
Are you speaking in Far From Home or No Way Home?
Both, but specifically this one right now.
Okay.
The new one, No Way Home.
Oh, all right.
There was just a little bit too much jokey and it was, maybe not too much, but just it seemed to jump between the serious, very dramatic stakes and the jokiness way too often, to the point where the stakes didn't really feel that high a lot of the time to me.
Interesting.
Even though the destruction of the multiverse is at stake, or whatever it is.
They definitely tried to convey a lot of emotion,
Yeah.
but there was so much like going for different emotions. They wanted you to be sad about one thing, and then they wanted you to be mad with another thing.
Yeah.
And I loved the movie,
Yeah.
but I was also kind of torn, like, how am I supposed to feel?
Yeah. The humor to me feels almost separate from the rest of it, because like the serious stuff really, really, really works. It really hits home. It does find its way home to my heart.
The cunning warrior attacks neither body nor mind.
Tell me how!
The heart, Osborn. First, we attack his heart.
Yes. And the one moment that I'm not going to spoil yet,
Yeah.
that did reach my heart.
The heart, Osborn. First, we attack his heart.
I only cried once during this movie.
Yeah. Me too.
Like teared up. And it was not something that I was expecting this movie to do.
Okay.
It wasn't something that I thought I needed until it happened. Which this movie did a lot of that.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know I wanted this until they gave it to me. And then
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, and you went in completely blind.
yes.
I wasn't really trying too hard to avoid all the spoilers necessarily. I didn't find any huge plot leaks or anything, but I was still seeing all the pictures of like, I accidentally said a thing. It's fine. We're back again.
So what we were talking about
Yeah.
is the fact that, yes, I did go in as blind as I think an individual could have,
Yeah.
while they are still a 20-something
Yeah.
in America.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even watch the full first trailer when it dropped. I watched the first few like seconds,
Which is crazy.
and then I said, no, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to avoid as much as possible. And yes, there were things that like crept up on me. There were people walking, talking that I picked up on something, and I'm
Yeah.
like, no. Or like all the channels that I followed on YouTube, all the pages that
Sure.
I previously had looked up all my MCU information and followed podcasts.
Yeah.
They were all spoiling all this stuff. It's like, stop talking about it. I unfollowed everything.
Wow.
And now I have to refollow it all.
Yeah. I pretty much just deleted everything the day of the world premiere, because that's when everything started getting like, even I would go on YouTube and my suggestions would just be full of like spoilers with like the whole title of like the whatever video would just describe an entire scene. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Seriously. And
crazy.
while I was in the theater, people were taking pictures.
Really?
In the middle of it all, you'd see camera flashes. There was a guy in our theater who yelled at them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I agreed with the guy yelling. I'm like, seriously,
Yeah.
I doubt the person you're Snapchatting wants to see that.
Yeah. And also, a million other people have already done that, and you
Yeah.
can find it on the internet. I've watched those scenes again so many times. So now I'm kind of happy that there's leaks, but I would be frustrated if I hadn't seen it yet.
For the greater good,
Yeah, the greater good.
I am your wife.
The greater good. I was thinking a different movie thing.
Yes.
I
Spoiler time?
think we can get into a little bit more. I think this is Tom Holland's best performance in the MCU yet. He has he does amazing in this. Zendaya always feels out of place to me.
I liked her in this.
This was the best that she's been by far. Like, I didn't feel their chemistry in Far From Home, but they were really good in this. And I wonder if that's because
Yes.
they weren't probably dating yet in Far From Home, and now they are in real life.
Well, tonally, their relationship just makes more sense because he's not this plucky, dorky, like,
yeah.
kid on a Euro trip, like, oh, I love her.
Yeah.
And she's not like, I love murder and all this darkness.
Yeah, they didn't really push that super hard this
Yeah,
time.
they
They made her
definitely-
actually, like, likable.
They settled that down.
Yeah.
So, and
That's
they
good.
put a toupee on Ned.
Yeah, he's bald. It's always been a toupee. It was
Yeah.
just kind of obvious this time.
It was
I didn't
pretty
really
obvious.
think about it until you said it, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I
Either
just
way.
accepted it in the back of my mind.
I do agree with you that Tom Holland's best performance, I felt emotion, and this is the movie that actually
Yeah.
has finally sold me on his Spider-Man.
Absolutely.
I mean, I liked him his introduction in Civil War, but then the character shifted so much since then
Yeah.
because the Russo brothers did their thing with him. And then John Watts comes in, and it was different.
It was different.
But when we get into more spoiler things,
Spoilerly.
we had never fully received an origin story for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
This Tom Holland one. In the first movie, no. Second movie, no. But this third movie, he becomes Spider-Man to me.
Yeah. It's weird how, and this is the thing that I'm seeing everyone saying now, is that this movie in a weird way retroactively changes the previous two, because now these three movies, this whole trilogy is the origin story of this version of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, this is him getting the whole, like, great power, great responsibility, everything. All, like, it actually happens, which is crazy. Like, because, you know, he gets little bits of that throughout these three movies, but then this one, it, like, actually finally, you know, no pun intended, hits home. And you see that with the character and where he ends up at the end of the movie.
He becomes the comic accurate Spider-Man.
Yeah, in more ways than one.
In motivation, yes.
Yeah.
And I know you're excited about that.
Yeah.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. That was, that was good.
So good.
It was
So
good. Awesome. And how did you feel about Benedict Cumberbatch and his performance?
I thought he did good. I thought it was kind of weird how he was just like gone at a certain point.
Yeah. He's a popular man.
Yeah.
Always looking in the mirror.
I thought he was good though. He was there as long as he needed to be, and then he was out until he was back. You know.
Yeah. The way he got out of the movie for a little while, I think, was a little okay.
Like, okay,
You're doing that. You wrote that for sure.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that's not how it would probably work out. But
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spider-Man would shoot him with a gun and kill him.
Yeah. Seriously, gang violence.
That's
New
what
York.
Spider-Man does.
Seriously,
Bing bong,
it's
New York.
who's your friend that likes to play
Who's your friend?
Spider-Man with a gun?
Spider-Man with a gun.
Cool.
But yes, the script score, the music is fantastic. The music is very, very good. Big fan of the music.
I was not as cognizant
Yeah.
of the music as I thought I would be,
Yeah.
because I was so drawn into what was happening on the screen that I was not listening. There were a few moments where I like patted my friend on the shoulder and was like,
Did you hear
this
that?
This is the theme
Yeah.
to the Goblin."
Or when Doc Ock shows up,
Or
you
when
get
Doc-
the ba 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 na.
And I mean, there were times where I was like, okay, I hear the music,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I fully am capturing like what it's supposed to emulate right now.
Yeah, I really wish for those returning characters like the Goblin and Doc Ock
Yeah.
that like they Electro and the Lizard don't as much have those iconic themes necessarily, but for Doc Ock and Goblin, I kind of wish that Giacchino had used that stuff more. Like I expected a lot more blending of soundtracks in this, and there just wasn't. There was a few moments for all of those returning characters, but I really wanted more out of that.
Can I spoil a villain that's in this?
Yeah,
Because
they're all in the trailer.
okay, cool. I didn't watch the trailer, so I don't
All
know
the
that.
villains are there.
Okay, so Sandman's soundtrack, I actually remember quite well from Spider-Man 3.
Heartbreaking.
Yes. But I didn't hear that as much in
No.
this. And that is one of the more memorable sounds to me.
Yeah.
The Raimi villains just had
Amazing. Well, Danny Elfman
more
killed it.
gravitas.
Yeah. I think the reason that Spider-Man 3 stuff might not be in there is because there are weird rights issues around the soundtrack for that movie, which is why you don't find it on Spotify. Because
Special thanks to Avi Arad.
Yeah, well, yeah, I thought that was weird. I saw it the second time with Ben Weber, and he was like, "So who's that?" And I was like, "Well, he was instrumental in the creation of the original Spider-Man movies, so that's important." But he's also more well known at this point for doing bad things with Spider-Man
Exactly.
stuff. So it's weird that they didn't also thank Kevin Feige and Kathleen Kennedy and Amy Pascal,
And
who were
Pascal
all involved
Pictures.
in those original films as well.
I feel like they were tooting Amy Pascal like the whole time, tooting her horn.
Yeah, but it's weird that Avi Arad got a special thanks, especially since he was probably an executive producer. Like, who put that on there?
He did.
Yeah. But there's weird rights issues around the soundtrack to Spider-Man 3 because they use Danny Elfman's like regular score for it, but he didn't actually do the soundtrack for that one.
Really?
It was Christopher.
Nolan.
Yeah, it was Christopher Nolan. I don't remember the guy's last name. It's Christopher something. And I always forget that it's not Danny Elfman because it's one of my favorite. It might be my favorite of the trilogy. Like the Venom theme from that is, or just the black suit theme is incredible with the French horn.
Yeah.
But they got into weird issues because they technically didn't have the rights to use Danny Elfman's score, apparently.
Really?
So when they used his theme songs as well as all the new stuff, they got in trouble. They got in some hot water there. And that's why it's not released widely today. You have to go on YouTube to find some of the best music in the Raimi trilogy. It's crazy.
Odd.
Yeah, so that might be why the Sandman stuff maybe wasn't in there.
Okay.
Maybe when the soundtrack comes out fully, we'll hear it.
Yeah, and I have some more thoughts about the Sandman later on
Yeah,
as well.
we'll get into it.
Yes.
Script score, cinematography, directing. John Watts did a great job. I think we're 21. I think we should do it's spoilers time.
Yeah, spoilers time.
Yeah.
Um,
So James Bond dies in this one.
yep. Bye-bye, James Bond.
Bye, James Bond. Finally found time to die.
You mean James Wan?
James Wan, famous director, dies.
Oh, no.
If James Wan dies this Tuesday when this comes out,
Sorry.
I am a magic man.
Can you make a spell that forgets everyone?
I can do that.
Okay.
So yeah, official spoilers. If you don't want to know it,
Stop listening.
stop listening.
Stop it.
Stop listening.
Go home
Go home.
Get some help.
It's over. Go see Spider-Man No Way Home
and then come back.
and then come back to the show.
Yeah.
You're at 21 minutes in. Just come back. Well, it's almost 22. Just go to 20 minutes and then you'll get a nice recap. Come back and watch the show. Listen to the show again. You can't watch it.
Yeah.
It's an audio with sound.
I love it.
Thanks.
All
Conrad.
right.
Love you too.
Now it's time for me to crank open my big book of questions.
Conrad has a big
character
red book.
times. Yes, it is my big red book. Like a big red dog, which was not a good movie.
Did you see it?
No. But
we should
I
go
just
see it
guessed.
together.
I don't want to see Clifford.
I want to see it together with you.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Yay!
So, we already talked about the plot.
Yeah.
One thing I want to focus on
Yeah. Tell me about your problems.
is how the character intros themselves. So, talking with the
Yes.
villain intros just in their own right,
Yeah.
I was, first off, very happy that they could balance this many villains in this
Yeah.
story. And I think that really shows just how well they developed these characters in their own movies prior.
Sure. That's
can't
a
just-
huge help.
Yeah, you can't start these random characters.
Mm.
I do appreciate some of the flips that they made on like the Jamie Foxx character.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's good looking now, and he's really self-aware of like, hey, what happened to me was stupid.
Yeah. I thought that it was a little too on the nose at times. Like it felt like Jamie Foxx was trying too hard to be the
Yeah.
cool guy.
Yeah.
I think that could have worked better if he toned it down just a tiny.
It was
tiny
just
bit.
Jamie Foxx.
It was literally just Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
It was like, what? I had dang gap teeth and I look cooler now.
Yeah, you fell into a quantum spanner. No, that's from Community. You fell into a sand pit. Cool. I fell into a vat of electric eels.
Gotta watch where you fall.
Yeah,
That joke.
I thought
it
that was
worked
kinda
better
funny.
the second time around.
I
That
thought
was
it
good.
was pretty funny.
Gotta watch where you fall.
But the first villain introduction
Yeah.
of Doc Ock when he's on the bridge, he's saying, hey, I want to get like into college. Don't do this because
Yeah.
I'm Spider-Man. Do it because my friends didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
And then Doc Ock just appears.
Yeah.
Cool. He found him on the bridge. How did he find him?
I don't know. That's interesting.
Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
He just kind of shows up.
Maybe that is just where they appeared.
Okay.
'Cause
Maybe
we don't
so,
know how the
because-
multiverse stuff works. We don't know where any
Yeah.
of these guys showed up for the first time necessarily.
That's true. I mean, we do know that. Well, I'm guessing we know that as soon as they learned that Peter Parker was Spider-Man in their universe is when they got pulled over. because that's when he was about like Doc Ock pulled off Toby's mask, and that's where he's pulled from because he's about to die by drowning it in the river. And then Green Goblin figures out that Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and he comes back too. At least that's what I thought they were leading into.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, because when the Goblin figures it out, though, he's at Thanksgiving dinner wearing a suit.
Yes. But who's pulled in, Green Goblin or Norman Osborn? Because Norman Osborn learns it. Oh wait, no, he also learns it there.
Yeah.
We attack his heart.
The heart, Osborn.
But yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I never really thought about like when they were necessarily pulled in. I figured they were pulled in like right before their deaths, but it's a weird multiverse thing. So it's like obviously when Andrew and Toby show up, they're not like, man, it was weird 10 years ago when the Goblin disappeared right before I killed him or something, you know?
Yeah. And so they don't really explain like when. Oh, by the way, Andrew and Toby are in this.
Yeah, they're in it. You know that already.
You know that. You saw it. You're watching.
Yeah.
You're listening. But they don't really explain like how they, at what point in time. Because Toby's old, Andrew's older, and they make a joke about that. But the villains are pulled from that exact timeline.
So that would, well, I think that's because they got pulled from when they died, probably. But then that brings the question of like, what about Sandman, right? Because he doesn't die.
Sandman doesn't die, neither does the Lizard.
Lizard dies, right? Or does he get cured?
He got cured with everyone else.
Oh. I don't know. I don't think it's...
Because he's in
weird.
Rikers at the end.
Oh, yeah. Because they were building up to a Sinister Six movie.
Yeah. Speaking of other villain introductions, the Sandman one, like he turned so quick when they went to go fight Electro and like capture him. He's like, Peter, I'm here to help you. What's going on?
Yeah.
Wait, you're not my Peter.
Which,
I'm mad at you.
If you thought that was the guy, then you find out that's not the guy, and he just seemingly vaporized a man.
That's true.
You would be suspicious of him.
But he was on board to go home. He's like, yeah, I want to go home. Cure me.
Yeah.
And then he was not on board.
Yeah, at the end when he just like, we're trying to help you, and he goes, I don't care. I was like,
no,
that's weird.
Your whole character development is you want to get home to your daughter.
Yeah.
So shut up.
Seems bizarre.
Yeah. And
but he also doesn't want to die. Maybe he thinks that they're trying to kill him still, because he doesn't know that they're trying to cure him at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of strange. My favorite performance of a villain, though, gosh, that's gotta be tied.
Easy for me.
So, the thing is, I feel like Alfred Molina, renowned character actor, just kind of pops in, and he just feels so natural in this universe already.
Yeah,
like I didn't miss a beat. It doesn't feel like he was out of the blue. He was here.
He's great,
and it was incredible. But then the person who like had to adjust to this world like mentally was Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Who I think tonally was like a little different, but I think that's just kind of the time like playing into that, and he's just a shattered psyche.
Yeah. He's like fully Goblin now.
But the apartment complex like fight scene where Tom Holland's Spider-Man is like doing the Black Widow move on him, like
just
punching him
and
he's just smiling
and smiling.
Oh, I was like,
terrifying.
That's it. That's him.
Yeah.
It was good acting.
Dude, and it's crazy to think that he was definitely doing that the entire time in 2002 as well, but we just didn't know because of the helmet.
Yeah.
Breaking that helmet was the best thing they ever did in this movie. Because holy cow, he is freaking terrifying in this.
Yeah.
He is fully, like, having read, so many comic books, that was the Green Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow. Incredible. I think he's easily the best performance in this movie. Right? Like, him and Andrew Garfield, I think, have the best performances.
Gosh, I just freaked out a little bit because that's a big point I wanted to talk about. Yeah. How people going into this were like, yeah, Andrew Garfield, whatever. I'm here to see Toby and Tom.
Yeah.
But I think he was a standout. I think they redeemed him so well.
Well, and Andrew Garfield has always, I think, been the best one of the three of them. He was just unfortunate to be in two bad movies.
What do you mean the best of them?
I think Peter Parker and Spider-Man, he's been the best one. Absolutely. I think
Really?
that the whole Tobey was a good Peter and bad Spider-Man and it's a worn out, tired take, and I'm disagree. I think it's stupid at this point.
Okay.
I think they all are really good in their own rights, but I think that Andrew is the best actor, certainly the best actor. Of the
I would
three of
agree
them.
with that, yes.
But also, I think
Tick, tick,
he's the
boom.
best. I haven't watched it yet.
He can sing, surprisingly.
Yeah, impressive. I've
Yeah.
heard the songs.
I just like Andrew Garfield, I think.
He's great. But I think that he is the most charismatic. I think he's the best at being Peter Parker. People
Yeah.
think that Peter is supposed to be this incredibly awkward, stunted guy, but he's that for like 5 minutes in the comics, and then he's, a charismatic dude. In the comics, he's dating freaking Mary Jane. He marries Mary Jane Watson,
Yeah.
who's a freaking supermodel. Like, this is not a sad little nerdy awkward guy. This is
Yeah.
a handsome, charismatic man.
Yeah.
So the idea
He's a
that-
little socially awkward, but
yeah,
like,
at times
Yeah.
he's a dork. He's not.
He's your
a
everyman.
loser nerd.
yeah. He just
And-
keeps getting beaten down.
I feel like Andrew does that the best out of all three of them and always has. He's just been, had the bad luck of being in a very okay movie and a
Yeah.
very bad movie.
What's interesting with this, I expected them to kind of play Andrew down a little bit and play
Yeah.
Toby up. But when they revealed them, when, Ned and MJ were trying to use the portal to find Peter.
Yeah.
Because apparently Ned is the next Sorcerer Supreme.
Interesting.
That's a question
I'm
for you
interested
later.
to see where they go with that.
Mind wipe.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
Oh, true.
Yeah. But it is interesting. So it's proof that, okay, here it is. Ned got the sling ring from Doctor Strange because
Yeah.
Spider-Man beat him in the mirror dimension.
Yeah.
And Ned figures out how to create portals because, oh, look, Ned's a little magic now.
Yeah.
So Ned's like, I wish I could see Spider-Man. I wish I could find Peter.
I wish we could just see Peter.
And then your portal kind of starts opening.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, let me try real. And you see this vague, like, Spider-Man figure in this alleyway.
Yeah.
And
I
you-
immediately knew it was Andrew.
Well, see, the thing is, you previously knew that, well, Tom just got, like, beat up to oblivion and is broken and bruised.
Yeah.
And this is a fresh Spider-Man. And the suit looks a little different and it's super dark.
Yeah.
And he runs in and you know automatically, different suit. Oh, man, he's taller, too.
Yeah.
Takes off the mask. And you're just like, it's Andrew
It's
Garfield.
It's him.
And, like, I was just like, this is it. This is so cool. And MJ is like, I don't trust you right away. And it's weird how much like chemistry they had
Yeah.
because you would assume that, they all have like the same kind of humor, same like
Yeah.
methodology. And so obviously they would like surf the line with getting along with his friends and his girlfriend.
Sure.
So like when she threw the bread at him and he's hanging from the ceiling and he's
He
like,
had that little jump.
yeah. He's like, that was really funny. Yeah, and he's like, you really want me to crawl around on the ceiling? Am I not doing enough?
Yeah.
And Ned's grandma was like, get the cobweb.
Did you do that, please?
Yeah.
And he's just like,
It was hilarious.
It's very good.
But then his introduction, I was like, yes, that was the perfect amount for Andrew Garfield. I love having him here.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, we're going to do this again and try to find Peter Parker. And I was like,
Yeah.
they're not going to show Toby here. They're not going to do that because they're going to go find Tom and then Toby is going to come in and like save something
Sure.
at the end and have amazing introduction. But they just like have youth pastor Toby Maguire
Yeah.
walk in through a portal and I'm just like, that felt pretty lackluster to
It's
me.
interesting that was the choice.
It is.
And he's very
Must have been his
casual
back.
about it too. He's very casual about it.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I'm looking for your friend.
Like, and that whole interaction just feels so weird to me. Because I have issues with that scene to a certain degree just because like they easily could have done that whole thing in a way that made more sense logically instead of Ned accidentally is like, I wish we could find our friend Peter, and then they accidentally get
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield, as opposed to he discovers that he can do this, and then they would go, oh, well, there's other guys from other universes. What if there's other Peters too? Because let's try to find other Peters to get our Peter help.
Yeah.
That's a very simple one line that you can
Yeah.
even do in ADR that I feel like makes all of that make more logical sense and makes that scene flow better instead of, whoops, they're here now.
Yes. There were parts that felt kind of cheesy. I had to get used to the 3 Spider-Men,
Yeah.
but I did like how I did like the spider sense in this movie.
Oh, it's cool.
They made it quite clear, and even like Tom Holland when he's in the apartment and he's like trying to cure all the Sinister Six, Sinister Five, I guess, and he just like, you don't know what's happening because you're figuring it out with him.
Yeah.
In this moment, where the Green Goblin has shifted, but nobody knows. But his spider sense is like something.
He can tell
happening.
it's not Norman anymore.
Yeah, but he doesn't know exactly. It takes him a minute.
Yeah.
And then when he webs him, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But when they have the spider sense with each other, like when Peter's on the roof of the school and they're up on top of the bell tower and they jump down,
Yeah.
he's like, what's happening?
Yeah.
It's kind of like Into the Spider-Verse where they're like, oh, you're like me.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I just thought it was really cool.
I thought that was cool. Did you notice that when he was in the astral form, the comic book lines were coming out of his head for Spider Sense?
Really? I did not.
Yeah, the little squiggles that they draw to show Spider Sense in the comics were just barely translucently there.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's a good little detail.
Isn't it? The other small thing about when the Goblin turned from Norman in the Raimi trilogy, a very small thing that they did is that when Willem Dafoe was Norman, he wore fake teeth. He wore false teeth to close his tooth gap.
Really?
And then when he was the Green Goblin, they would take that out. So his natural tooth gap, his more natural, like janky Willem Dafoe teeth, would be on full display. So something that I was wondering if they were going to do in this was going to be that. And they did.
That's
they actually
incredible.
did that. And it's the smallest little thing.
You know, people who love Spider-Man were making these movies.
Yeah, right? It's crazy. They must have had like Sam Raimi and Mark Webb on for
Mark
like,
Webb.
yeah,
Yeah.
for like consulting or something. I don't know.
Honestly.
But it's
And
crazy.
It's bonkers to me that this movie exists because
Right?
I'm so giddy. One thing I wanted to talk about before we get into kind of the finality or just more like character moments, a question I had was, so these villains are being pulled in because they know Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man are being pulled in because they know they're
Peter
Spider-Man.
Parker is Spider-Man.
So that makes me wonder, is Gwen Stacy and Kristen Dunst, Mary Jane Watson, are they somewhere like running around in this?
Maybe. I mean, it's not a matter of like, because only a certain few people happen to get through, like before Doctor
Yeah.
Strange closed it. Because when the tears open later, you can see the figures of different villains. Like, and I saw even more the second time around, you can see a comic book version of the Rhino in
Yeah, I
that
saw
silhouette.
those.
You can see Kraven.
Scorpion.
Scorpion was one, yeah. I want to go back and watch. I can't wait to see it on my
Yeah.
TV. Like, I love watching movies in the theater and getting that experience with the crowd for comic book stuff. But my home, my 4K 70-inch is always going to
Yeah.
be the best setup.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to watch this again on that and like freaking watch it at 0.25 speed and just see what I see,
Yeah. But we'll get into a Gwen Stacy moment later that I
Oh
want to bring
my
about
gosh, yeah.
Andrew, or we can talk about it now.
Yeah.
So the one part I teared up at was
Oh, then I guess I have two because I forgot about that part.
okay. So in the original, not the original, I guess, Amazing Spider-Man 2,
Yeah.
where Emma Stone is playing Gwen Stacy
What a
and
babe.
Andrew Garfield. I think she's great. Andrew Garfield doesn't save her in time from falling,
Yeah.
and she dies. And it's a very heartbreaking moment in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
That's a very good scene, and your heart is retching for him. In this, there is a moment where they're at the Statue of Liberty where the final fight scene takes place,
Yeah.
and Mary Jane comes through a portal and she falls from a height, and Tom is like going after her, but I think the goblin catches him, and you're just like, oh no, she's falling. And you just see Andrew come in and go and save her and
Yeah.
catch her at the last moment. And when he's standing there holding her,
Yeah.
the emotion on his face of like, he finally got to
Yeah.
save
He's like, not again.
his Mary Jane or
Yeah.
Mary Jane. And it just, oh man.
It's very good.
That was something I didn't know I wanted until that moment.
Yeah. Well, when I saw the trailer, you get to see that shot of her like starting to fall and like Tom is going to go get her.
Yeah.
And I saw that. I was instantly like, Andrew's going to catch her. Like, I bet you, I need to talk to my friend Ian whenever he sees it. Because I said to him, I bet you $50 Andrew Garfield is
Cough
in this
it up,
movie
Ian.
and he catches her.
Cough it up.
And he said, okay. So,
So
he
that's
owes
a deal.
me $50.
Sorry, Ian.
And I was right. And it was so good. The way that he like turned around and like just landed on his feet was a little janky, but
I don't
it was
care.
very good.
I don't care because I loved it.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to go watch it and cry again.
Yeah.
I haven't even been looking at my notebook.
Jeez, you dummy.
I know. So, first note, Andrew gets his save, all the redemption.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm somewhat of a scientist myself. How do you feel?
I don't know what I feel about that.
I think it's interesting. So when they catch Willem Dafoe's Norman Osborn and they put him in the dungeon of Doctor Strange's
Yeah.
Sanctum Sanctorum, there's this moment where they're all talking about like, oh, you're a scientist, I'm a scientist, he was a scientist. Like
Yeah.
all the villains were scientists.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm somewhat of a scientist myself,
Yeah.
which is a very popular meme
Yeah.
and line from the original 2002 Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it's just so weird that they went with that quote
Yeah.
instead of all the other quotable things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
mean,
going to put some dirt in your
I'm
eye.
gonna put some dirt in your eye. I mean, that would have been weird though, because that was a whole black suit thing. I
Yeah.
feel like if all the memes they were gonna do, I'm glad that they didn't do a ton.
Mm-hmm.
There were only two things that I really specifically picked out.
Tell me about it.
There was that, and they did do the pointing thing twice.
I didn't catch that.
It's more subtle in the moment when they're in the lab and Ned's like, Peter, and they're all like, huh? And like, Peter Parker, that's all our names. They're all kind of pointing to each other a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not as clear there, but then in that moment when they regroup after their fighting isn't working very
Mm-hmm.
well, and they're like, what's going on? There's so much going on. I don't know what's happening. I'm on the Avengers, blah, blah, blah. They're all like, Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3, and they're like pointing at each other
Yeah.
in that exact formation. And it's like, it's very, very quick and subtle, but it's there.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, well, I'm something of a scientist myself. They do put that in there.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird that Doc Ock said, the power of the sun in the palm of my
With
hand.
the arc reactor, though.
Twice.
Yes.
The arc reactor was kind of interesting and cool because it's like an evolution of his machine to a certain degree.
And Electro's like, wait a second. That thing is
Yeah.
like off the charts.
That was cool. I did like
Yeah.
that. It was just weird. I didn't like necessarily that a lot of the dialogue that really stood out was just taken directly from the Raimi movies.
Fair enough.
Like even when he's like, "Oh, my dear boy, how are you doing?" and he goes, "Trying to do better." That's directly out of Spider-Man 2 as well.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Because for Toby, that's 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah. 2004.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And for, Doc Ock, that was
a week.
2 days ago. Yeah. Nothing. And okay, so with the arc reactor being in it,
Yeah.
I thought that was a good enough nod and it was just nice that they didn't talk all about Tony Stark in
Yeah.
this Spider-Man movie.
There was no Tony Stark in this.
And they got rid of the Tony Stark suit.
So good.
Finally.
Yeah.
And I think that's key to the character development, which is why I enjoy
Yeah.
this as Tom Holland's like, all right, now you have a chance to be Spider-Man.
Yeah, because
Spider-Man's
then
not the tech.
Aunt May becomes his Uncle Ben.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, Aunt May dies. Green Goblin kills Aunt May in the
In a-
same way that he almost killed Peter in the first movie.
Yeah.
And it's
Was-
rough, man.
Were you expecting that?
To a certain degree, yeah, because based on the trailer, it looked like her or Happy were gonna die,
Okay.
and I thought it was gonna be Happy, but it was not. But it's interesting because she gives him that, and this is the first one to actually quote the comic book correctly. Is with great power must also come great responsibility.
Yeah, but in my brain, it's
With
always
great power comes great responsibility.
and that just
Yeah,
sounds
it's Cliff
natural
Robertson.
to me. But yes, I'm happy that it wasn't the people with the power to do things must also
you have the
the
moral
responsibility
obligation to do when you're able to do a thing and like So I thought it was funny that when Andrew was like, my Uncle Ben said that on the day he died. It was like, he didn't. He didn't.
Yeah.
He said about morals and stuff.
Yeah. When they're on top of the school, though, after Aunt May dies, and they're all like, they give him that moment of, you have no idea what it feels like to be like where I'm at. And they're like,
He backs off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because they fully understand.
Yeah.
But they realize he's processing and he needs that moment. And then they come at him softer.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, realistically, Spider-Man is all about getting beaten up. He's
Yeah.
all about taking hits but keep fighting. And, of course, they relate.
Yeah.
Man.
It's very good. It's very good.
Yeah, and Tom Holland, just like, his acting in that moment, I was very impressed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The one thing
Oh, no.
that really was really janky to me was where he is standing on some building watching the billboard of J. Jonah Jameson.
I thought it was cool.
It was the close-up shot is gorgeous, but the shot of him from behind that's panning out is so extremely obviously CGI. Like it's very, very clearly a 3D person on a thing with a picture put on top of it.
Yes, because the
And that
J.
bothered
Jonah
me.
Jameson part, you could tell that the screen was not like a normal screen. It was like so high quality.
It's like I could have done that in After Effects.
And it was weird because it should have been a little more pixely and a little more like brighter because you didn't see the light coming off the screen or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I thought that was, I mean, still a
Easily
pretty
forgivable.
cool shot. Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, what do you have in your book? What do you have? What else do you have in your book? Tell me about your
Let's see.
your
Let's
Little
see.
Red book.
We didn't talk about Daredevil.
Dude, that is honestly my favorite scene in the entire movie.
They just in the first 10 minutes they just throw it right in your face.
Yeah. He's
like-
just there and done. And it works amazingly.
And I was just like, what? They're doing it.
Yeah.
And for those of you, like, I don't know who on this podcast is caught up to all the MCU things.
Yeah.
But spoiler alert right now, stop it for Hawkeye. This is a spoiler for Hawkeye. Stop it.
Right? This
Go
has been
away.
a great week
Go away.
for Spider-Man and for Daredevil fans.
Yeah. So, Hawkeye fans, if you've been watching the show, they just revealed Wilson Fisk,
Yeah.
the Kingpin.
Our boy Vinny.
And so, the fact that 2 days later, Daredevil, Charlie Cox,
Matt Murdock.
is here,
Yeah.
and he's not in full Daredevil mode.
No.
But you see a little bit.
Yeah.
A brick comes flying through the window,
Dude.
and Spider-Man goes to catch it, but Daredevil catches it instead. And you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
what?
Actually, hold on. Can I play something for you?
Absolutely. You can.
I sent a voice message to Laura the other day because she went and saw it, and then I was driving, so I did this instead. Where's the one? I'm gonna pause this and I'm gonna insert it right here.
I'm on my way home, and I'm just in awe of this Spider-Man suit. I want to see it. I want a better look. I need them to give it to me. I need them to give me the suit to look at. So draw it. I want to see it. I want to see the suit. Show me the suit. I want to see Spider-Man in this suit by himself as a loner in New York. Fighting around, teaming up with Daredevil. That's what I want. That's all I want is more of Tom Holland in this costume teaming up with Charlie Cox as Daredevil. Is that too much to ask? That is what I want to have and hear and see and even taste. Perhaps touch, if I'm able. That's all. Thanks.
So yeah, that's my very enthusiastic thoughts on not just the Daredevil cameo,
Yeah.
but also the new costume at the end.
Yeah, the suit.
It's literally just the Paulo Rivera comic book
It's
version
perfect.
of the suit. It's literally the red and blue Paulo Rivera suit.
Yeah,
I'm in love.
it's perfect.
I'm in love with it.
And we saw it at night in the snow.
Right? I need to draw it. I need to.
And he will, ladies and gentlemen.
I
Follow
will.
him by his art. Let's see.
It's so good, dude.
All right, and I think that was most of my character moments.
There, look at that. It's literally just this.
Yeah, that's good.
It's perfect.
It's good. It's really good. I wanted to talk about. I mean, I'm happy that they got rid of the whole Mysterio plotline pretty quick. Of like, yeah, they went through due process and they went through. They took him into the police station, but they didn't linger too long.
Yeah.
There were the people who were like, "You're a hero," and then the idiots who were like, "Oh, obviously this guy who showed up, this guy who showed up for a week, is clearly better, and you saved the entire world, so you suck." The teachers,
So
hilarious.
I hope that in the college stuff that they're going to do, because they have confirmed now that they are in active development already of number 4.
Really?
Yeah. I hope that in this college stuff that they're going to do, that they continue this trend of having all of his teachers be famous comedians, because they're just amazing. Dude, Hannibal Buress and Martin Starr and JB Smoove are incredible for like the 1 minute that they're in this.
Yeah.
Hannibal Buress being the one who's just like,
Nah, man.
no, we don't.
You're a murderer.
Mysterio was right. Mysterio, you made that whole
Mysterio
shrine.
was right, or Thanos was right?
Thanos. Oh yeah. Ooh,
Yeah.
a lot of people are right.
Yes.
Not a lot of people are left
Ooh.
at the end of this movie.
Is that a pun because they disappear?
Yes.
They're not left. Left behind.
Left behind.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man left behind. No one. No home left behind.
Yes, that's a good one. So that begs the question. So
Yes.
as he goes to college, will he run into his versions?
Connors?
Yeah, of Dr.
I wonder.
Connors.
Well, I'm not sure, because something that I thought was interesting is that when he meets Norman for the first time at the feast shelter,
Yeah.
he's talking about how like someone's living in his house, which is maybe Kate Bishop's mom. Is that the same place?
It feels like the same place.
That same mansion gets used in every establishing shot in New York ever, though.
Yeah.
I need to look that up, because it has the green rooftop and it's rectangular. So who knows?
But this takes place about a year before Hawkeye takes place.
No.
This takes place 1 year after Endgame. I'm pretty sure the timeline is different.
You see a billboard for Rogers the Musical, and the Statue of Liberty stuff is in the middle of happening in Hawkeye.
So the
last episode, someone talks about it.
They talk about it, but they say you have to go see the new one in No Way Home. It's not finished yet. We'll check into that later.
They also both take place like right before Christmas, though. It would be weird to set them around that exact same time and have it be like separate on the timeline.
Okay.
That's interesting.
enough.
I don't know.
It's a weirdly bright and happy New York
Yeah.
for Christmas time until the very end where it's snowing.
Yeah.
So maybe time passes after Aunt May passes.
Yeah.
And,
Here's the thing about this though. None of it's real, and it doesn't make sense.
yeah,
And these Spider-Man movies have consistently broken the timeline of the MCU.
exactly.
But what I was saying is, Willem Dafoe, when he first meets him, he talks about someone's living in his house, and like Oscorp doesn't exist, he says. And his son, he alludes to like that his son, like maybe he tried to find Harry and there is no Harry.
Yeah.
So I would wonder if some of these characters exist in the other dimension, because someone like Peter would obviously absolutely know
Who Otto
Octavius was.
Yeah.
He might look different, but he would have the same name.
That's interesting. Because in this universe, then technically, so you have your Vulture, your Mysterio.
Yeah.
So it's just all these villains that are not in the same timeline.
Are there any
multiverse.
crossover villains?
Um,
Venom is the only person that we've seen in 2 different timelines.
so I have questions about that.
And I mean, Morbius is going to introduce all kinds of weird questions.
I'm so confused because I wrote a chart. I drew a chart in my journal that says, why was Venom here in the...
Did you
the
see
scene.
Carnage movie?
I did not.
The post-credit scene of the Carnage movie is him at some like Cancun villa or something.
Yeah.
And then he gets transported into another dimension and sees the identity reveal on the TV. And the Venom symbiote is like, this guy, and licks the screen.
Well, so that's confusing because why did he get transported into another dimension?
It seems like the Venom symbiote, for some reason, knows who Peter Parker is. So I don't know if that's like a hive mind thing, if that transfers over universes. Because in that post-credit scene, he's also talking about how like he has this hive knowledge over like billions of gazillions of years. It might even say universes. I can't remember.
Okay, because that's very confusing to me because I was like, okay, so the Sony universe, technically, this Venom should not know and has never alluded to Spider-Man or Peter Parker,
Yeah.
let alone knowing the identity. And so I wrote it down that Tom Holland is known by the MCU Vulture as Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And then Michael Morbius, your friendly, it's just me, Dr. Michael Morbius,
Yeah.
you silly, here at your service. He makes a joke that he's Venom.
Yeah.
So he knows Venom, but Vulture knows Morbius because of the trailer.
Yeah.
And then Venom, so it's this like, it should be full circle,
Yeah.
yet Tom Holland and Venom do not connect.
See, now here's the extra confusing thing is that in that same trailer, we see Spider-Man on the wall in graffiti.
That's Andrew
and
Garfield.
It's
No?
no, it's the Tobey Maguire one.
What?
Yeah, and you know what's even funnier about that too is that the moment I saw that, I knew the exact image it was because that, weirdly, the picture they chose to be the wall art in the graffiti art on the wall was the same. It's the image that Insomniac released when they added the Raimi suit to the Spider-Man PS4 game. So that is a picture from the Spider-Man PS4 game on the wall.
For Sony claiming that they love Spider-Man so much, they really get some...
It's really
Just-
weird.
Ugh. Anyway,
So every universe is in that movie right now.
Yeah, so it's super confusing. Why Venom knows that? So it's
Yeah.
I guess it's not clarified why.
Venom.
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 So my question is, the new Venom that stays in the universe, the little bit that stays
Yeah.
on the bar. So is that technically an offspring of Venom? Because if it's a little bit, it should have gone back with him. If it's born in this universe, it should stay in this universe.
That's interesting. I wonder if the rules are different from symbiotes because of like the hive mind thing. Symbiotes are really weird. Like the comics have even expanded like crazy lately on them.
Symbiote.
Disagree. But there's a lot of weird history and lore behind these little fellas
Yeah.
that is it's a lot and it's confusing.
Yeah. I mean, I won't sit and pretend to know everything, but my first question was, okay, so that can't be Tom Hardy's Venom. Like, it's not going to be him in the MCU doing this.
Yeah, right.
This
Would
is
it be
going to
Tom
be
Hardy's voice being the Venom voice
Yeah,
then?
this
Like
is-
in that movie?
Yeah, and that'd be strange unless they introduce,
Doctor
unless
Strange.
Eddie Brock is someone that transists over this
Yeah.
multiverse.
Were you as sad as I was that Topher Grace was not in this movie?
Kinda. I mean, that
I
would have
really
loved
wish
that.
he was in there.
I would have loved that.
Because he knew that Peter was Spider-Man. That was his whole
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I get
I
it.
mean,
I
people,
get it.
people didn't like that, but I would have loved to see that.
Even as they do have a nod to him, which is pretty funny in that whole conversation, where they're like, "What kind of cool villains have you guys fought?" Oh, it looks like you've met some of them, but it looks like, I did fight an alien made out of black goo.
Yeah.
And then Andrew Garfield's like, "Man, you guys are so much cooler than me. I want to fight an alien,
I fought a Russian guy in a rhino
a
outfit.
rhino machine, a
Yeah.
rhinoceros
And
machine.
they're like, "Oh, you're not lame. You're amazing."
You're amazing."
and I was like, "Okay, that's on the nose right
And
there."
he goes, "Will you say it? You're amazing."
You're amazing. Okay, Toby, come on.
I
Just
wish
go
he-
back to popping
I
your
really,
back.
He did. He didn't quite say you are the amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You are an amazing Spider-Man. I wish
Yeah.
that he would have gotten that far.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
Venom
anyway.
leaves a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I'm excited to see what they do with that. I was really hoping, because they've talked off and on about the Russos coming back to do Secret Wars,
Mm-hmm.
which would have been an easy way to also introduce the black suit, because that's where it comes from in the comics.
Ah, yes. The outfit changing
Yeah.
thing from the comics.
That I guess he accidentally goes to the wrong machine. I haven't read.
Yeah. Thor's like, "Oh, go here. It'll change your outfit."
Yeah.
And he's like, he accidentally goes to a machine that's holding Venom, and he's like, "Well, I got a new black suit.
New
This
black
is cool."
costume.
And he doesn't realize it's
Yeah.
a literal parasite.
Which at first, I think that's all it really was, actually, was just a costume. And
Yeah.
they didn't really lean into that until later with Todd McFarlane and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. Comic books are weird, and there's a lot of them.
Seriously.
Connor.
Well, leading off of that, because I want realism in my comic book movies.
Tell me about it, baby.
I had a question about when Doc Ock first appears on the bridge and they're kind of under there and the nanotech starts going on to the tentacles.
Yeah, Bluetooth.
What's exactly... So I thought that was the tentacles absorbing it. Or was that like Tom Holland was like, because he was like, nanotech, very impressive.
I think it was. But then they weren't able, like his technology is from 2004. So he's able to like get that attached to him to some degree and control that.
See,
but
I
he's
thought it
not
was the
able to take
AI.
control of it.
Since the arms are AI, were they taking over the nanotech at that point?
I think at first, yes, but then it was like easily overpowered by the far superior Stark Tech.
Okay. Because that happened a lot, which I thought was a good like jab at like, you're from the past.
Yeah. It was also, I mean, I wonder, they didn't do this, but I was wondering if they would talk about how initially, and it might still be in the novelization, but they took it out of the movie. Originally in 2004, Spider-Man 2, the arms were developed in tandem with Tony Stark.
Really?
Yeah, he helped make them.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah. It's crazy. There's so many superheroes that are canon via the novelizations of the Raimi movies.
Wow.
Doctor Strange, we get to name
Doctor
drop.
Strange, it's already taken.
But gosh, Namor is actually in those movies, technically.
Seriously?
Yeah.
When's he going to make his MCU debut?
There's all the Wakanda rumors, but I guess
Wakanda
we'll
forever.
see what the heck is up with that if that ever happens.
Do you think Shuri's the new Black Panther?
I think that was probably their plan, but we'll see what happens
She's been getting
with that.
pretty fit. Like the actress has grown up
Yeah.
and like gotten real muscly.
Not great press for her lately.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, it's just...
We don't need to go into that.
Yeah, it's a bunch of nonsense that may or may not even be true. We'll see. I don't know. And now Chadwick Boseman's brother is like, no, I think he would have wanted you to recast it, actually. People are kind of coming around on that and being like, at this point, like, I feel like it's fine. Like, just bring us T'Challa. Like, he has a great legacy, but we don't want that character laid to rest. And I get that, and I could go either way.
Yeah. I don't know how they're going to do that. We'll leave it up to the genius Marvel people because they're smarter than us.
Yeah. I think I'm smarter than them.
And when it comes to the technology of jumping back into when they're in the science lab and it's the three Spider-Men working together.
So good.
So I don't know if I liked how easy it was for them to just come up with the cures again. Like, this guy's a lizard. How do we turn back? Oh, Andrew, I got this. Don't worry. It's cool.
Yeah.
And they're
Which,
like, what?
I mean, that one makes sense because, like, he's literally done that before.
They're in a high school science lab.
What did he have access to before?
All the Oscorp gene, like the DNA, he had all of that. He literally had that space, like, gas gun.
Yeah, but he's also older now and gotten better at what he's doing.
Okay. And then the Goblin serum, they're just like, oh, it was wrong when they first did it. And now, Toby's like, I've been thinking about it for a while.
For multiple decades.
Okay. Like, they figured it out in this high school science lab to cure all of them.
Yeah. It's a comic book.
The Sandman turning back into a human, I was just like, how?
That's
molecular.
That's
like,
a scene from
vision.
the Spider-Man movie that you just plugged in
That's
there, huh?
wild. Yeah. And then I believe my only other question.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I have two questions. Quick. Are all these villains that got cured and being sent back, are those new branch timelines in the MCU?
Yeah, I'm curious about that to see what that even means then for them.
Because Electro was dying, like literally dying, and he gets sent back as a normal man.
Yeah. Is he getting sent back then at that point in the timeline and not in the point that he came from, do you think?
I don't know.
These are questions that people will be asking Kevin Feige.
And his comment with, yeah, man, you're poor and you're from Queens. I just figured you'd be black.
That was good. That was very funny.
Yeah,
and then that Andrew Garfield was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. Like, he was so apologetic for being white.
Man. He's like, oh, it's time for a black Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, Miles, we know you're out there.
He exists.
If in the fourth one they bring in Aaron Davis again, and Miles is ready, I think that'd be cool.
I feel like they'll probably still wait a couple. I don't think they would introduce him immediately because this is a whole new era for Peter.
That's true.
You know, like the end of this movie, he gets the new suit. Everything is erased, and he truly feels like a grown-up Spider-Man. He feels like comic book Spider-Man for the first time to me.
Yeah.
And he gets the new suit, and he goes on his swinging adventure and everything. And it just it makes me, the whole ending of the movie, it's really tragic, but it's very classically Spider-Man, and it makes me really, really excited for whatever's coming next.
Yes. So a few questions. Sorry, I keep saying that. But at the end, when Tom Holland's Spider-Man is on the Captain America Statue of Liberty shield, beating up Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, and he's like rageful.
Yeah.
And he's like on the verge of killing him. He picks up the glider.
Yeah.
And it is stopped by Tobey Maguire.
It's very good.
Which just points to the original Spider-Man film with him.
Yeah.
Where he never stopped it, and he always like questioned if he should have stopped it. And then it was such like the symmetry there.
Yeah,
I
and
really
with
enjoyed.
no words too.
Yeah, and he's just like he shook his head like, and Tom like can see it. I thought that was great.
It's very good. I don't see the point of him getting stabbed. He's just fine after that.
Yeah,
Why
I
do
thought I was
that?
like, are they killing Toby?
I feel like they should have. If they're gonna do that, kill him off.
Yeah. Because if they had killed him off, then my next question would have probably had more backing to it.
Yeah.
I think they hit Andrew Garfield out of the park.
Yeah.
And my question is, are they going to bring him back in the Sony verse?
I would seriously, after seeing, because there's been talk about like, what if they made a Spider-Man 4 like Old Man Logan style, and they bring Sam Raimi back, and it's like a capstone to that, and people have talked about that a lot, but not really the same thing at all with Andrew Garfield. And after watching this movie, I have very little interest in seeing a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey, and extreme interest in seeing Andrew Garfield back.
How they flipped the switch.
Yeah. I feel like I've always kind of been in that place, though, but then just seeing, Tobey's never been an incredible actor, but he's fit his universe perfectly.
Great Gatsby. Just kidding. That was bad.
It's fine.
I didn't like that movie.
Okay.
Anyway. Yes.
I maintain again, I think Andrew's always been the best one, but just been in bad movies. And we've seen clearly when you give him a good script, he's one of the best actors living today.
He's very good. Have you ever seen, there's a movie with him and, who plays Kylo Ren?
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver. Him and Andrew Garfield are like missionaries from Spain.
Oh, Silence? I haven't. I want to.
Great acting.
Yeah.
Just fantastic.
Yeah.
Either way. So my question was, is Andrew Garfield back? And I would be very open.
So on board for that.
Honestly, he's just so charming.
I wonder if he would want to do it though, because I know that like
he's always wanted to be
loved
Spider-Man.
the character.
Yeah.
He loved Spider-Man. But I would be interested to see if now at this point in his life, that's something that he would want to be locked into.
Yeah.
Because he's doing all these really interesting projects. He's all over the place right now.
Yeah. He's following the footsteps, I believe. Him and Robert Pattinson have the same energy in my mind. I think they're both fantastic actors. And I think, man, they both just kind of have the same like vibe in my mind.
The same way that like
Yeah.
Daniel Radcliffe and Elijah Wood are kind of like,
Kind
they
of.
both did these huge franchise things and then proceeded to stop doing anything big and just do weird, tiny indie projects.
And
forever.
now they're both back like in this like
Yeah.
1 year, 2 year gap of like big superhero movies.
Yeah.
And they're both like, I mean, probably in the top 3 most popular superheroes ever.
Yeah.
There's Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man.
Absolutely.
And they're both these guys. And I'm just like, I think this is all prelude to, I think Pattinson is going to knock it out of the park.
Who?
Robert Pattinson.
Who?
Robert Pattinson.
I didn't understand what you said. Who?
Robert Pattinson.
Do you mean
Edward from Twilight.
no?
Yes.
Do you mean Robot Battenbat?
Oh, that's bad. Stop it. Okay. I gotcha. Deep cut.
Robot Battenbat.
Yes. Anyway,
Swinging a bat.
I think that is all of my like initial thoughts I had written down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see it again,
Yeah.
and I'm probably gonna have more questions coming out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, what's your question you usually ask at the end of these things?
Yes or no? Connor?
Absolutely.
That's not an option.
Yes.
Thank you.
How about you?
Yes.
Cool. I feel like I talked a lot during this one.
No, it's good. I always feel like I talk like way too much, so I feel like this was much more even. than normal.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I just love Spider-Man so much.
I love Spider-Man so much. I like Daredevil, I think, more than I like Spider-Man.
Really?
So I'm very excited that Daredevil, it begs the question of how much of the Netflix series is canon.
I feel like they just won't mention.
I think we'll get a hint of where Kingpin has been in the next episode of Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I think it'll be, if I had to guess, this is my baseless speculation. I think that he did not blip, and I think that Daredevil maybe did.
Ah.
So I think that while there was this power gap, he
That could make
swooped
sense.
in, because at the end of the Netflix series, he has been beaten by Daredevil and he's down at his worst, you know.
Yeah.
So I think maybe in this power vacuum and the blip, those 5 years, he was rebuilding his
The uncle.
criminal
Yeah.
empire
Yeah, that makes
with
sense.
the tracksuits then, which in that time period, it would make sense why he would be working with the tracksuits, because his entire thing got messed up by Daredevil right
Yeah.
beforehand.
Is it the hand?
He wasn't the hand is a separate situation.
Okay. Another
The hand or the
evil
ninjas.
organization.
Yeah,
Yeah. The foot from Teenage Mutant Ninja
exactly.
Turtles.
Yeah, the Ninja Turtles being a very direct rip-off and remake of, you know,
Same
Daredevil
universe.
it's not.
Same ooze.
It's not. you criminal.
Splinter.
I think they do, even in the original comics, kind of have like a thing where the ooze that goes down in the sewers is like because of this thing that happens where like maybe like a kid stops a guy from getting run over or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Those
Those original
just fun.
comics are weird and dark.
Either way.
But
yeah, Kingpin.
That's what I think is going to happen there. I'm so excited that they're back. I actually have been rewatching Daredevil
Yeah.
before Kevin Feige came out a couple weeks ago and was like, yeah, if you were to see Matt Murdock again in the MCU, it will be Charlie Cox.
Because he's a great actor.
Yeah. And I was like, I manifested this. Like, they saw my viewership. They saw the viewership on Netflix just take one up, and they were like,
Yes.
okay, that's it.
We reached it.
We're
Our
putting
quota.
Vincent in. Call Vincent right now. We're putting him in the last. That's why it was just a phone shot, you know?
Yeah. Well, it
Because they
didn't
had
even
to- had to
look
get
like
in there.
him fully.
Oh, I thought I could see it was him.
I thought it was like, this could just be any bald, bigger man.
Any bald big boy.
But
I'm glad that they're not using like a fat suit and CGI like was rumored.
Yeah.
Because he really don't need to. He looks perfect in the show, the original
Yeah.
show.
It was good.
I think you could see a little bit of an ascot too.
An ascot?
Yeah.
Cool. So you say that in the blip, I guess there's just so much you can do with the blip and
Yeah.
like new characters coming up.
Because
Because
the way we saw Yelena's blip was fascinating.
yeah, that was cool.
I never thought about the blip from the perspective of someone in it. Like
Yeah,
we see
it
Monica
just
Rambeau come back,
Yeah.
but that's not like her leaving and coming. It's just like that, which is
Yeah.
fascinating.
And she's just like, huh?
What?
And then
The world's shifting
it
around
got
her.
explained to her. I was not sure how she would come off in the 4th episode of Hawkeye when she was like on the rooftop. But
Yeah.
then in the 5th episode, I'm like, all right, I'm sold.
She's great.
Yeah, like
She's so good.
she's so charming.
Yeah,
It's
I wanted
crazy.
mac and cheese when I was watching that.
It's like she put in so much hot sauce on the mac and cheese.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
You done? Okay, I'm putting hot sauce on.
I was like,
It's very good.
girl's just going.
I love it. I want mac and cheese now.
I'm gonna get some.
But yeah, that's our thoughts on Hawkeye and Daredevil a little bit, I guess.
Ooh.
I would love to do a full like Daredevil review, like
Of all
reminiscence.
3 seasons.
Oh yeah, dude,
I
I
would-
would freaking love that show.
I would
so
join
much.
you. The fight scenes alone,
Incredible.
like the
So good.
one shots.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
We could bring Michael in on that one too, because I invited him to come on this episode, but he's doing a
Michael-
Christmas party right now. Michael Klopp.
Oh, I'm going there after this.
You jerk.
I have my present in the car. Sorry.
You're a terrible person. He's not here because of that dumb Christmas party.
And that is a collective friend who I knew first.
Yeah.
And then I said, hey, come work at Berean.
yeah,
And
then
he
you
got
left.
the job. And then I left the day he started.
but he's in my department, so we're
And
like
now-
best buds now.
And now we're all friends.
Yeah,
I figured you two would get along.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's awesome.
Oh man, they all hate us. But yeah, maybe we could do that. We could have a little 3-boy, maybe even a 4-boy. I don't know if Herbal's seen Daredevil.
Really?
Yeah, he's not as tuned into this stuff as
Well, I haven't really
so.
seen Herbal, so. Boom, roasted.
Take
Call
that,
out.
jerk.
Yeah. Commit to
Yeah.
me.
Commit to me.
As a
Listen
friend.
to me now.
You listen to me now.
Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't completely exactly replicate that line. There wasn't too much of that.
Yeah.
But listen, everybody. This has been the Listen to Me Now, everyone. This has been the show, and I've been Marshall, and this has been Connor. And if you want to reach the show, you can do so at Ben and Marshall Pod is not the name of it. That used to be it. At Cinema Lounge Pod at gmail.com. At Cinema Lounge Pod on Instagram. I'm at mparish_art on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. Except I'm not going to be on Twitch anymore, probably, because I'm moving over to YouTube, which is where we are the Great Scub Do. SCUBDU. I'm going to start doing regular art live streams on there. I think I'm going to do like Monday and Friday mornings.
Cool.
It's like wake up with Marshall, get your coffee, and I'll do like drawing and stuff.
Marshall.
I might commission like a little jingle for the beginning of it or something.
That'd be
that
fun.
could be fun.
Can I do it even though I can't sing?
No, actually.
Awesome. Even
But
better.
you can make a guest appearance if you don't have work for some reason.
Slumber party.
Slum BP.
Slum BP.
Woo! But I'll probably also do some like gaming stuff on there. It's going to be mostly drawing, but I might play some video games. Like, I don't know, force myself. The only way I'm ever going to finish a Dark Souls game is if I'm doing it for the internet. So I might do that. We'll see. But that's
I
what all
don't-
those things are. Connor, you,
I don't do anything.
yeah,
So,
good.
see ya.
The way it ought to be. I think that's everything. I feel like there was something else that I was going to plug. I was going to talk about the live stream stuff, and I did that.
Cool.
But yeah, thanks everyone for listening. This has been the Spider-Man Show, and it's been just a delight, Connor.
Thanks for having me, man. I will talk about Spider-Man till I die.
Well, today's the day.
I'm dying.
Yes.
Hello, world. Goodbye, world.
Bang! I killed him just now, guys. You all were asking for it. Every message and email I got, you were just saying, kill Connor off.
Don't worry, I've been shot before.
Dang it, he's still alive.
Toby.
I'm fine. Just, I've been shot already.
Okay. It's time to end this.
Yeah, thanks everyone for listening. I've been Marshall.
And I've been Connor.